Are you going to present
well,
this
let me,
ever? Like,
This clip with Joe Rogan and Dave Smith has been going around on Twitter and around the internet. You've seen people talking about it, perhaps. But I wanted to give my reaction to this. So Joe Rogan and Dave Smith talking about when Trump was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and there was this moment where, Trump did his election denialism. So they're going to go ahead and reflect on this moment and give my thoughts.
So I agree with all of that. I'm just saying, like, once you've made these statements and your administration is in,
answer.
no, I remember it was
Yeah.
one of the most interesting parts of your podcast with him was like when you asked him about that, it was like he really didn't have anything to back it up.
If that was you,
For
or
me, it was not interesting at all because it was just basically the same shit he's been saying for the last, or had been saying for the last like 2 or 4 years or whatever it was. It wasn't surprising to me because he's never had anything. He's never had any proof. It was always a bullshit lie from the very beginning. It was always just a ruse to try to steal the election. So it was not interesting to me. It was just totally expected. But anyway,
if that was me, I mean, if there was some reason why I knew that they did something, and I could give you all the facts, I would have that ready for anybody. Because for 4 fucking years, they've been telling him he's crazy for questioning the election.
Yeah.
So after 4 years, I'd have a fucking tight 10 minutes
Yeah,
on the
yeah, yeah,
election
yeah.
where I could just rattle off at you and rock your world with it. Like, these are the facts, Jack.
Joe Rogan having a tight 10 minutes of anything these days is actually quite hilarious. So then they go and show us this clip. This is the exact clip when that interaction happened with Joe Rogan and Trump.
That you were robbed in 2020.
yeah, totally.
How do you think you were robbed? Everybody always cuts you off. I'm going to
They
allow.
do.
And of course, in that interview, Joe Rogan did everything he possibly could to make Trump feel comfortable, to give him, a foot massage, to lead every question. Well, of course you have an answer, sir, but, everyone always just cuts you off. It's not your fault, Mr. Trump. Don't worry.
Well, they not only cut you off. Well, what I'd rather do is we'll do it another time, and I would bring in papers that you would not believe. So many different papers. That election was so crooked. It was the most crooked election.
Okay, but give me some examples of how.
Well, let's start on
Okay.
the top and the easy ones.
Okay.
They were supposed to get legislative approval to do the things they did, and they didn't get it. In many cases, they didn't get it.
What things?
Anything.
Of course, he's just talking about normal. It was the election was during COVID, and obviously there was a lot of accommodations that were made because there was a deadly disease going around. So they had, different allocations for mail-in balloting, and of course, different states and different legislatures and different Supreme Courts all voted on this stuff. You could argue maybe it was done hastily, but it was an election season and things were happening rapidly. They had to make adjustments to try to protect people's lives. That's what was going on at the time. Of course, Trump then sued everyone in the world about this stuff. He did like 64 court cases. He won like 2 of them on some procedural bullshit, and it didn't change anything. It changed like 500 votes or something in Pennsylvania. It didn't make any kind of a difference. So it's just complete nonsense, complete cope.
When they
Legislative
made,
approval
like
of,
for extensions of the voting, for voting earlier, for this,
Right.
for all different things. By law, they had to get legislative approvals. You don't have to go any further than that. If you take a look at Wisconsin, they virtually admitted that the election was
Nobody did
rigged,
that.
robbed, and stolen. They wouldn't give access in certain areas to the ballots because the ballots weren't signed. They weren't originals.
They didn't give access to the ballots because the ballots weren't signed. They weren't originals. Therefore, the whole election was a fraud. Excellent logic.
We could go into this stuff. We could go into the ballots, or we could go into the overall. I'll give you another one.
are you going to present
Well,
this
let me-
ever?
And then the famous question, are you going to ever bring the evidence? You ever going to present this? We have the evidence. We have the ballots. Mike Lindell, Mike Pillow, great guy, fantastic guy. He's got the evidence. He's got the machines. We were going to seize the machines, but the corrupt Democrats wouldn't let us seize the machines. We're going to seize them. We're going to do full seizure. We're going to take the machines. We're going to take the ballots, the mail-in ballots. It's a corrupt thing. We're going to get rid of the mail. We're going to get rid of the ballots. No more mail, no more ballots. It was a fraud. It was a hoax. Give me a fucking break. Anyway, I just hate the fact that we've gone so far off base with regards to reality that we even have to entertain that kind of nonsense. I want to say, I just fucking hate the fact that there are so many people that fell for that shit hook, line, and sinker just because he lost the election. And then, of course, when he wins the election this time around, zip it. You don't hear a fucking peep. On election night, even when the early results were starting to come in and it wasn't exactly clear what was happening, he was already lying. He was already saying, oh, there's shady stuff going on in Pennsylvania. We got to seize the ballots. We got to, like, he was already setting up the pretense for another big lie to try to cause chaos and God knows what in the streets. And then he went on to win. He shut the fuck up. He said, don't look into it a single second more. And that was the end of it. So it's like, you know, again, I just hate this shit. I hate the lies. I hate the dishonesty. I hate the corruption, everything that is this administration. You know, good on Rogan and Dave Smith for at least pointing it out. What do you guys think? Do you think Dave Smith actually like low-key hates Trump? I know he said he wanted him impeached previously and then he kind of walked it back. I think he kind of does deep down. I think Dave Smith is smart enough to see that he's such a fucking con man, ruse, you know, bullshit artist. I don't think Joe Rogan's tiny brain is big enough to figure that out. But again, at least he's open to having the conversation. Of course, if Trump wants to go back on Joe Rogan's podcast, he'll go right back on. He'll give him the same runaround. He'll lie to his face, and Joe Rogan won't say anything, but because he likes the access, he likes the power, and he wants to be part of that club. Of course, until it won't be convenient for him anymore, until Trump just ruins the whole fucking thing and crashes the economy. Anyway, God forbid. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.